It's been nearly 8 months since the Eagles shattered the Chiefs' dreams of a Super Bowl three-peat with a 40-22 beatdown in Super Bowl 59. Now, it's the Eagles who are threatening to begin a dynasty of their own with another loaded roster. But there are some question marks and plenty of other contenders who are coming for the crown.
Heavy is the head that wins the crown, yeah. Heavy is the head that wins the crown.
How do you feel about the fact that even though it is banner night for you guys, the fans will still have the standard of performing and winning at a high level?
Yeah, I didn't know it was banner night. We won't be out for that.
Nick Sirianni is all business heading into Thursday night's season opener against the Dallas Cowboys, and you don't want to miss him about chasing a repeat. You're not going to hear about it. Welcome to Coming for the Crown, presented by Philly Sports Trips. Ashlyn Sullivan, Barrett Brooks, Jason Avant, and Dave Zangaro here with you for the next half an hour. Dave, that wasn't a surprise to us that we're listening to that, because we have heard that message the past 3 months. There is no repeat Super Bowl champion. That was last year. So I don't think anyone inside the building was surprised by that. But no. Everyone's like, what do you mean you're not going to be out there?
I'm surprised you didn't say, oh, we won the Super Bowl. I don't even remember that happening. Yeah, I mean, that has to be the message. That's the only message you can have when you win a Super Bowl, is to not think about winning another one, because there are so many steps on the journey to get to that point that if you start to try to skip steps, you're going to stumble and you're going to fall. And that's the only way to go about it.
It really is. And Jason, we've all been impressed at training camp. Everyone, I think, with these high expectations for this team, expects a Super Bowl champion to take a step back. And history says that's going to happen. But I mean, being out at camp, it doesn't look like these guys are behind at all. Who sets that message that you're not allowed to take a step back just because you won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's Nick Sirianni. He's the guy that does it each and every time, and I like his approach. They're not going to be out there for it. He views the praise of men as rat poison, something that can kill you, right? So he's that guy that's like, our focus is on this particular season. And also, I think all the noise behind the title. You hear Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 guy, not a top 10 guy. He's outside of a bunch of professionals. These guys are taking these things personally, and I think they want to fight for Jalen Hurts. And people that don't believe in Philadelphia and want to see us down, I think Nick Sirianni's got that message to his team.
Yeah, and rightfully so, especially Barrett. This is going to be really interesting this season to pay attention to. The Eagles are the top dog. Everyone is coming for their crown. How do you think this team is going to handle that?
Well, they're going about it the right way. They're not worried about, what everybody's talking about. They're going about their business. They're making sure they're crossing all their T's and dotting their I's. They know that they're the lone guys up there at the top of the hill, and everybody's running up the hill trying to knock them down. But with the consistent message that they have over there at the Nova Care Center is, we're going to go about our business. We're going to enjoy the ride. We're going to do what we need to do to defend the title. And they're not even saying that, but that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to get everybody's best. They're going to get everybody's Super Bowl. That's just what it comes with being the best. Especially
with this talented team. But there are some question marks heading into this season, even for a team regarded as having the best roster in the league. Dave, there was one training camp battle. We talked about it every single day on the defensive side of the ball. Quinyon Mitchell on one side. Then you have the question mark at the other starting cornerback spot. I think at this point we all think it's going to be Adoree Jackson, and we think teams are going to pick on this. How do you see this working out?
Yeah, I have a pretty confident feeling that whoever's out there in week 1 might not be out there in week 2 or week 3 or week 4. I think this is going to be a constant evolution, and I think they deserve to figure out who the right guy is for that spot. Jacorian Bennett got here late in training camp, so maybe he didn't have a chance to catch up. I think eventually it could be him, maybe Mac McWilliams, the rookie, who did some really nice things in training camp too. But you're right, when you have Quinyon Mitchell on one side of the field, you're not going to want to throw to him. You're not going to want to throw to that side. You're going to want to pick on whoever that other corner is. And that's where I think we've talked about Quinyon maybe traveling with some of the top receivers. I think that's one of the reasons why, because if he's on the top receiver, at least you feel pretty confident that they're going to still throw the ball that way. If not, I mean, he can be on an island out there and they might not even look that way.
Right. And Jason, it's interesting. We talked about this battle, but really all throughout training camp, there wasn't really anything else to talk about. And that's such a good sign with this team. There was no drama. There was no contract disputes. This was really the glaring battle every single day. This is a team that's really buttoned up going into this year.
They are buttoned up, and this is a battle. And this, not signing Isaiah Rodgers back may have been the biggest mistake of the all season, So just 2 years, $11 million for the Vikings. So when you look out there and you see Adoree Jackson, or you look out there and you see Kelee Ringo, These guys are not able to cover someone's dynamic number 2. We got George Pickens this week. We better hope our defensive line gets home. If not, we're going to be in trouble. The good thing about it is that we have Vic Fangio. We have a bunch of versatile players on the back end, and Mick Williams, and we have Makumba, and we have Sidney Brown. These guys can be interchangeable, but we have to do something about it, like Dave said.
Right, and Barrett, we talked about this at the start of OTAs when this whole situation played out. You thought, oh, well, this will be Keely Ringo's job. He'll just slide right in, high draft pick. This makes all the sense in the world. It goes to show either you grab a job in training camp or you don't.
Yeah, and at this point, they didn't know what direction they wanted to go. When you're at that point, you got to go out there and say, this is my job. I'm going to take it, bar none. Get away from me. I'm having this runner. And that's what Tyler Steen did. He won that position. Nobody else at that third corner position really took hold and played to that capability. It really disappointed me because I thought Keely Ringo was, 6'2", 6'3", 210 pounds, can run a 4.3, didn't take the position. I was kind of disappointed in that. Jackson has played a long time, first-round draft choice, played the corner position for a long time. He's the veteran guy there. And then we got Bennett here, but it was just musical chairs. I don't think at this point Vic Fangio really was comfortable with anybody, so I think we're going to the season like that. But we don't have, there's not a lot of teams that have 2 great corners like that, with Quinyon and Coop. So when you have an average corner over there, it kind of makes it glaring to us. But a lot of people would like to have that type of, understanding that, all right, we have greatness over here, but this guy is still pretty good, though. He can still play a little bit,
There's a lot of ways to get around this,
exactly.
Right? So you have Howie's constantly working on the roster and the team, but you have a lot of bargaining pieces in order to get another guy in here if these guys don't work out. But again, real bullets are happening this week, and we're going to see what they do when it's live and not preseason and not training camp practice.
Some guys play like that too,
maybe a guy gets better and he shines under the lights.
Very possible, yeah. And we don't get to see practice anymore, right? So it's all behind the scenes. Training camp, we get to watch every single rep. Once they get to the season, it's all behind the scenes. We don't get to see how much a Jacorian Bennett or a Mac McWilliams improves as this goes on. But Barrett's right. I mean, we're in our little bubble here in Philadelphia. We're trying to figure out, all right, where could the problems be? You're right. They have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. There are teams way worse off than the Eagles are at that position.
Some people have a bunch of Jacksons and Ringos. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we're a little spoiled here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was frankly the only thing we really had to talk about. So we had to talk about something, so we're going to pick that. Right. Another thing we can talk about, though, the Eagles lost 3 of their top 5 sack leaders from last season. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams left as free agents. Brandon Graham retired, as we all know. And now you look at this trio here of Jalix Hunt, Moro Jomo, and Josh Uche brought in through free agency. Jason, I think the biggest question is that enough?
I think it will be, because you have Azeez Ojulari back there. You have a bunch of guys that are going to do it as a cohesive unit, and I think they'll be just fine. Especially they got a blessing this week because they're going against a very rookie or young offensive line with the Dallas Cowboys. They're missing a lot of pieces and guys that have been there for years, like Zach Martin. So some of these guys are not ready to play, and Tyler Guyton is one of those guys. Booker is one of those guys. There's a bunch of guys that can be had this week. So I think it'll be good going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the one position, edge rusher specifically. I wonder if they have enough right now, but it's not like they had a 15-sack guy last year either, right? Like, they won because they rushed as a group, and that's going to be what Jeremiah Washburn tells them this year. Group rush is going to be key. You have to kind of be assignment sound. You can't freelance. You can't start to do your own thing, but they have enough there, I think. You look interior, obviously, Jalen Carter, Moro Ojima, Jordan Davis, and then some of the other guys sprinkled in on the edge. Jalix Hunt needs to take a big step. I think Nolan Smith. It's just a bunch of good players, maybe not that one superstar on the edge, but that's okay. They didn't have that last year either.
When you have a bunch of lightning going on the right side of the offense, when you have, we haven't talked about Smith. Smith is going to be one of the premier guys in the league. I'm seeing him as a double-digit sack guy. Nolan Smith will be a guy that you're going to have to game plan for. So when you have him next to Carter, teams are going to slide that way. When you have Jalix Hunt, a young guy, give him an opportunity to go out there and really flourish, and he might show you guys a little something because he showed me something during the playoffs. So I'm excited what's going on, and we didn't talk about Big Davis coming in 20, 30 pounds underweight.
Davis.
I mean, yeah, he can actually play every down now. So let's go. Let's go.
Skinny Davis.
Yeah, look, Lighter Davis. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, big expectation for Lighter Davis this season. And Chris Collinsworth will call Thursday night's season opener on NBC 10 alongside Mike Tirico. Collinsworth was a recent guest on the Takeoff podcast with John Clark and offered this perspective on the defending Super Bowl champions.
I don't think defensively they're better. I think that would be hard to say, with Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham and Milton Williams and all those guys gone, Darius Slay. The guy that I probably worry about the most is C.J. Gardner-Johnson being gone. There are some, there's more colorful ways to say this, but disturbers on a football team, right? Every team has one or two or three. And you've got those guys that just keep the pot stirred. Those kinds of guys are special within a football team. And every once in a while, I can remember CJ coming up and making that hit on 4th and 1 during the regular season and just completely blowing somebody up. I can't remember who it was. And you just go, yeah, that's CJ. Or, a little fight or an interception down the field or something. I always thought he was a little bit of the juice of this football team, just a little bit of that. So, but certainly the talent that they have is going to be great. I'll be interested to see how Adoree does or Ringo or whoever it is at that other cornerback position. But it's a very good team defensively, but that's what we'll be watching first.
Well, Chris Collinsworth mentioning C.J. Gardner-Johnson there as a player the Eagles could have a tough time replacing. And Dave, when you look at this, that is a big loss in free agency. Do you think it's the biggest loss, or is there another one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good place to start. For me, it'd be actually Darius Slay, just because to have two corners at that level, to have Slay and Mitchell, it's such a luxury. Teams don't have that, right? You just don't have two corners that you can just say, hey, go on your sides, and you don't have to flip. You don't have to do anything else, nothing fancy, just shut down those outside receivers. I think they're going to miss Slay the most. But CJ, to me, is a close second.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Jason?
Well, any guy that's a disturber of team and makes it a distraction. We saw this offseason, Micah Parsons with the podcast, C.J. Gardner-Johnson with all of his antics. Teams are not valuing that right now. So you have to learn how to just stay even keel. And, yes, you can be disruptive on the field. You can be, let your voice be known on the field. But these guys are not helping themselves, and they're costing themselves a lot of money. But other than that, I would say that, yes, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, because that position is that third position is just such a big drop-off. And when you have that drop-off, teams can avoid you. Mm-hmm. They can avoid Cooper DeJean. They can avoid Quinyon. But, with Isaiah Rodgers and with Darius Slay, you couldn't avoid it. You had to go out there and throw against the best.
I'm going to just say Sweat, because that bigger defensive end, him holding up, he could hold up against the run. You wouldn't have to necessarily have anybody else out there. So Sweat, to me, was, a pass rusher, but more so a run stopper for me.
I would say the other guy would be Brandon Graham. Just because he was.
How do we not say him yet?
Yeah, no, I would just say because he did everything well, right? So he can hold the point. He was the only guy that wasn't confused and when it came to reverses and stuff like that. He was the veteran guy, and he can rush the passer and stop the run at a high level. So you're going to miss that. And he was a vocal leader. I'm
glad you mentioned BG, because we ended up talking so much about his leadership and what he meant to the spirit of the team. We kind of lose sight of the fact that he played really well last year when he was healthy. And you're right, they could have used him as a player, that level player on the edge this year.
Yeah, I thought he won us the Rams game. I thought he won us the first Rams game.
Yeah. The reverse, he stopped the reverse
Massive
and everything.
Play. Yeah, guy they will definitely miss this season and some holes to fill. The Eagles won't have to deal with Micah Parsons in the division anymore, but they might have to deal with Parsons and the Packers come playoff time. We'll break down the most dangerous challenges to the Eagles atop the NFC. That's up next on Coming for the Crown, presented by Philly Sports Trips. We are back with the upcoming schedule presented by Philly Sports Trips. The Eagles will have to navigate a really tough schedule if they want to get home field advantage in the NFC. As you look at it here, that road schedule alone, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Green Bay, Buffalo, all playoff teams last season. In total, 11 of the 17 games are against teams who had at least 10 wins last season. And we're back. Ashlyn Sullivan, Barrett Brooks, Jason Avant, and Dave Zangaro here with you, coming for the crown. And Jason, when you look at this, the Eagles can match or exceed last season's 14-3 record. When you look at that schedule, that looks pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to match 14-3. You know, not saying that they can't win a division and get back to the Super Bowl, but 14-3 with that schedule, you're playing everyone's number one team in their division. You know, so I think it's going to be tough. And you're looking at a lot of teams that are gunning for you, and with 6 defensive starters out, it's tough. It's tough.
It really is tough, especially, Dave. I think we were all shocked by this when you look at the Super Bowl rematch. Kansas City, week 2, really early on in the season. If you had to tell Eagles fans to make one road trip, you go to every away game. Is that the trip you're telling them to go?
That's a pretty fun game. Yeah, I mean, that is fun. Tampa should be a good game. There are some really good games on that schedule. If you like barbecue, yeah, maybe go to Kansas City. Get some barbecue, watch a Super Bowl rematch. That's not a bad way to spend your weekend.
Plus, that's the loudest place. That's the loudest place in the NFL as far as an outdoor stadium. It's so loud in Kansas.
It's a fun atmosphere for sure. Yeah, go to Buffalo.
In December.
Good luck.
Well, no one wants to do that.
Right.
I have a feeling we'll be hearing this
Buffalo,
more.
Green Bay, you know, apples, oranges, all fruit.
Yes.
You know.
Well, the NFL world is still reeling about Jerry Jones trading Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Parsons just turned 26 years old, and you don't just trade guys this good and this young. You never hear this happening. Barrett, does the addition of Micah Parsons make the Packers, you think, the biggest threat to the Eagles?
I think that, you know, he is a huge threat. Him being there, you got to account for where he is. So, you know, we'll do like we always do. We'll just run the ball against him, you know. So the Packers were going to be a threat anyways. You know, they have a young team, young quarterback, and, you know, he really understands, you know, that he brought some more weapons in. These guys need to play at a high level. But, I mean, I like them, you know. I like the Packers. I think they're going to be up there as far as the, you know, NFC people that you have to worry about going into the season.
Right, and Jason, it was interesting. When this happened beforehand, we always talked about competitors in the NFC, and I always felt like the Packers were like, yeah, but a lot's got to go right for us to really take them as competition in an NFC championship game. Now, with this move, it's all of a sudden we're paying attention. Are they the biggest threat to you?
I don't think they're the biggest threat, but you have to, you know, put them higher on that list because it puts you in a situation where if they can stop the run, now Micah Parsons becomes a valuable game-deciding player. But I think the Eagles can run the ball against the Packers, and they've shown that they've been able to run the ball. And now that you can just mitigate Micah Parsons' ability because you don't have to be in those 3rd and longs anymore. And I think he's a type of player that when you get ahead, he's just overwhelming for the opposing offense.
Especially when losing Clark. You know, people understand losing Clark. Clark was their best defensive lineman last year. So I don't know why they let him go.
Yeah.
Well, I know why they let him go. They got Michael Parsons. Yeah, you're right.
They're okay with that.
Right.
Well, David, this time last year when we're predicting the schedule, getting ready for a new season, none of us are talking about the Washington Commanders. They were the surprise team. There's always one every year. Do you think there's going to be any surprise in the NFC?
Well, I don't know if it's a surprise team because I think everyone expects them to win the NFC South. But if we're talking about serious competition in the NFC, to me, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I look at that offense. I think it's high-powered. We know Todd Bowles is going to have that defense ready to go. And if there's any team that would threaten the Eagles, I mean, gosh, how many times we have to see it to know it, right? Like the Buccaneers give them some fits. So that's the one team that, you know, I don't think they're going to be at the top of anyone's list, whether it's the Lions or the Packers, even the Rams. But the Bucs are the one team that they're in the back of my mind going into this season.
Yeah.
They always give us problems.
Always. That team that's always just there week 4 in Tampa Bay is going to be a big matchup. And at this time last season, it would have sounded crazy to have predicted 2,000 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley, but that's exactly what happened. We're going to make our bold predictions for the 2025 Eagles season when we return. You're watching Coming for the Crown, presented by Phillies Sports Trips. We are less than 48 hours away from kicking off our coverage of Eagles opening night. It all starts at 6 o'clock on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus with Birds Huddle and Birds Huddle Game Day, followed by an hour-long edition of Eagles Pregame Live. Then after the opener on NBC 10, flip it right back over to NBC Sports Philadelphia for all the interviews, press conferences, and analysis on Eagles Postgame Live. Welcome back here to Coming for the Crown, presented by Phillies Sports Trips. It's time for some bold predictions for the 2025 season. Barrett, I pick you first. You're up.
I'm going 13-4. I think this team is built because they're the best team in the NFL. They have the best roster in the NFL, bar none. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, Jalen Hurts will be this year's MVP, baby. I said it right now.
I'm saying
it. This is the first week of the season. I've been saying it since training camp. He finally wins his MVP. And it's not even going to be close because the way this team is constructed, he'll be dynamic because you can't cover both. You can't play the run and play the pass consistently against this team. They'll make you pay either way you go.
He's going to have to be in the conversation if the Birds want to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Jason, what are you thinking?
Oh, in the break, Barrett and I had a disagreement.
You were going at
I have to say this. I think the Commanders have the best roster in football. Nobody wants to hear that. I think they do. Doesn't mean that the Eagles don't have championship pedigree and that they won't beat the Commanders, but I think overall they got the best roster. All right, so I got that out there.
This is coming for the crown.
When it comes to my bold prediction is going to be because Jalen Hurts is going to ball out, I think Devontae Smith is going to have his first Pro Bowl season.
Nice.
I would love to see that. He works extremely hard. He's always showing up in big moments, and he just needs more opportunity. He's never covered, always open.
Yes, he wants those personal accomplishments, deservingly so. Dave, what are you thinking?
It's so funny because normally I don't like to prop up rookies that much. I think there's generally a learning curve in this league. But I'm so sold on Jahad Campbell. He's the defensive rookie of the year. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. And I know it sounds like a lot, but he's going to have the opportunity to get so many stats this year because I think he's going to be playing at the line of scrimmage, not as an edge rusher a ton, but I think when they have him and Zach Bond out there, they're going to walk him up the line. That means tackles for loss. That means forced fumbles. That means sacks. That means maybe a pick or two falls in his lap. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, he's made a lot of big plays this year, and I think that's going to be enough to get him that defensive rookie.
He's a wrecking ball. He'll definitely be a wrecking ball, And they drafted him so late when he was a top 10 pick. He did everything right. He covered well. He blitzed well. He did a lot of stuff so well. So I can see it.
He's in my doghouse.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I saw him the other day, and he called me Mr. Avant.
That's polite. It's Alabama.
You finally get called
the
old
reason
now.
is because he was at my football camp when he was a kid. He called me Mr. Avant. I was like, dude, I want him to do well.
I love that. What do you guys think about this? And it doesn't even sound that bold anymore after you guys give yours. Quinyon Mitchell, I think he's going to be a household name, a top 5 cornerback, shadowing the best receivers in the league. This is Quinyon's year that I think everyone in America knows who this guy is, Dave.
Yeah, you're right. He may be a pro.
Maybe I like that. I mean, it's not crazy. It would take a lot. I don't know if he's going to see the football enough, but yeah.
He has to catch it when it comes to him.
Well, you don't have CJ here now either. CJ took like 2.
That is coming for the crown presented by Philly Sports Trips. Thank you guys so much for watching. Eagles football just 2 days away. We're so excited. We'll see you tomorrow.